Okay, hello, my name is Caio Villalobos. We're at St. George in Clifton today, and we're going to be doing an oral history about the Greek diaspora and your Greek American experience. So you can state your name.
My name is Sofia Pramagioulis.
Okay, so where was your family originally from?
So my dad is actually the only Greek one in my family, and he's from a very small town in the mountains in western Greece. It's called Monosiraki. Most people think it's the one in Athens. It's not. It's near a bigger city called Vonitsa. It's a really nice place, very quaint, right in a mountain, very cute.
And what do you know about that place?
Well, I've visited a billion times, literally, since I was like a year and a half. So I've been going there a lot. I know, I mean, the community there is really awesome. It's like, I love it. Everyone's so loving, and it's basically my whole family because my dad has 12 other siblings or 11 other siblings, like half are full, but he has a lot of siblings. We have a lot of cousins, and it's just like I said, it's remote, not remote, but it's a I don't know how tall it is, but we are right on a mountain, like I was saying, and it takes a while, like it's about 20 minutes away from that city that I was saying before, Bonita. So we're a little bit alone.
Nice. Okay, so what do you know about your experiences, what your parents' stories coming to America?
Coming to America. So my dad, he grew up in the village. He didn't go to high school. He did very like in the beginning, and then when he turned 16, he decided he was gonna go to Athens. He started boating. So they took him around the world on a boat trip, or not a trip. It was work. He was working on a cargo ship, and he traveled all around the world, and then he docked in Philadelphia, and that's my uncle. He actually kept him from going back to the ship. He kept him in Philadelphia because my uncle was already here, and then that's how my dad ended up in the U.S. So he was actually illegal in his first couple years in the U.S. because of that. So immigration would try to hound him down, but it was good. He worked hard, and that's basically it. Was my uncle took him to a baseball game, and my dad, it was funny. My dad got hit in the face with a baseball, but then my dad never went back to the ship after that. Like my uncle just refused. He was like, "Give me my paper so I can go." And my uncle's like, "Nope, I'm not gonna take you." So that's how my dad ended up in the U.S. He was 18, so it was like 2 years on the ship.
So how did he eventually get his citizenship? Through what process?
Oh, dear Jesus. I honestly, I don't even know because I know like obviously with my mom, he became like officially legal, but I'm not sure if he got his citizenship before then because he was in the States for like 9 or 10 years before he met my mom, and I think he had paperwork before then, like he undocumented for all those years, but I don't know the exact story. Maybe that's a good thing to ask. I've never asked about that one.
That's okay. Okay, so what can you share about why he wouldn't have left? Never mind. That's an inapplicable question. So,
It's okay.
What stories did you hear growing up about your ancestors other than like your dad's experience?
About my ancestors, I don't even but like before my dad, like my
Right,
grandparents,
like
and
grandparents.
stuff. So my dad has told me this story about my grandfather because I never met him. My mother never met him. He was a lot older. So my dad, he actually died when my dad was like 14 or something like that. So my dad was fairly young. But they talked about how he was a very strict guy. There's actually a video on YouTube. I don't know what it is, but it's like the old, like in the 80s, and they took a video of this little we have a valley behind our town, and that's where my dad's farm was. And this guy, and there's like, you could see my dad's father, and he's like, yep, that's him. And that's really cool. But the one story that my dad always tells about his dad that I think is amazing is, so my dad's dad, my grandfather, was never religious. So he one day, he was like, you know how like they all have sheep, everyone has farms and stuff. He was gonna take his like farm, he was gonna move his things because like there was no grass or whatever. But like he said, like an apparition told him not to put his sheep away. Like he was like, leave them here, like nothing's gonna happen to them. And he woke up the next day and everyone's sheep were all gone, like they were dead, they were dying, and like the pastures were bad. And then his pasture was like actually untouched, like nothing happened, like everything was fine. So he never he still wasn't religious after that, but on I think it was I forgot what saint it was. It may have been Paraskevi, it might have been a different one, but he every year on that saint's name day, he would like not go to church, or he would go to church. He wouldn't do anything. He wouldn't go out in the pasture because he was so like grateful for what that spirit or apparition did for him or what he saw.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I love that story.
Yeah.
Get the chills every time my dad tells it.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if I tell it as good as he does.
No, that's cool. So slightly switching gears. So what is your parents' religious background?
So my dad, obviously he was baptized in the church. He was baptized Greek Orthodox, but like I was saying, like the family was really never super religious. My mom, she wasn't Greek American, but she was baptized as she was Catholic. But it's actually really funny because my dad doesn't come to church because he works all the time, and my mom has basically taken in the role of being a Greek Orthodox parishioner person. Like she loves the faith. She's always here, and so I think my dad he did a really good job of like like they both did, like working together. Like like they really helped us with faith and like, so like my dad, maybe he didn't grow up with it, but he still, obviously he believes in it. He'll come to church when he can, but he just doesn't have the time because he's always working. Yeah.
So, growing up having a Catholic mother and a Greek Orthodox father, what was that like? Was there?
Well, it was actually, like I was saying, it was actually kind of okay because my mom kind of embraced the Greek Orthodox faith a lot more than like you would think. Because I know a lot of Greek Americans who are half Catholic, half Greek Orthodox, like they steer more towards not going to church, being more Catholic, doing all the Catholic stuff. But my mom, she really she didn't forget about it, obviously, because that's what she grew up on, but she kind of absorbed the church here, the Greek Orthodox church, and we've been coming. She's always we go to church every Sunday. She's a Sunday school teacher, and it was really, I think, easy for me to grow up in the Greek Orthodox church because she always brought us, and we were perfect attendance at Sunday school. We were always at church, and I sing in the choir now, so like I wouldn't be doing any of that if my mom hadn't dragged us to church every Sunday morning when we were little and didn't want to go and we were tired.
Okay, so how does religion play a role in your understanding of Greek heritage, if at all?
Well, I mean, I think it really does because, like, honestly, yeah, you hear about, like, when you go to Greek school, you talk about, like, all the Greek history itself. Then when you go to church, you learn about, like, the deeper history, if you know what I'm talking about. Like, it's just, there's so much more, like, you learn a lot more in language, even though some of the hymns are in ancient Greek and they're, like, not modern Greek, as we call it. It's just you have so much better understanding of the language and how things worked back then because, like, you can hear everything. I sing it, like I said, I'm in the choir. And I mean, as a parishioner coming to church all the time, like, I feel like if you're not fully in the culture if you're not coming to church, you know what I'm saying? I know people in Greece, some people say, like, the Greek Americans are more Greek than the Greeks themselves because we do a lot, like, we embrace our culture, and we do it a lot more than they do in Greece because they have it. They're like there, like they're not trying, they're just living their lives. But I think that's a part of it, like being here, like I consider myself so Greek, and I'm only half Greek, but I consider myself like a full Greek. Because, like, I don't know, I've been fully enveloped. I feel like if I hadn't gone to church, like, yeah, I would know the language. Yeah, I would be a part of, like, different things. But I wouldn't have, like, the full knowledge. And I wouldn't have the full understanding. Like, I can go to Greece now. I can go to church and on a Sunday morning and understand everything the priest is saying, understand the sacraments, understand the liturgy. And it's no big deal. And some of the kids in Greece that speak Greek and only Greek don't even understand what's going on. So I think that's really cool.
So what are you most proud of with respect to your Greek heritage? Greek culture.
That's, I think I'm just proud of just in general how, like, strong Greeks have proved themselves to be, no matter what they're doing. Like, whether it was back in the 1800s with the ending this 400 years of slavery with the Turks, or in World War II when they were fighting back the Germans and the Italians, saying no, saying that they were not going to get taken over, and even up until today where they're telling Macedonia, or Fyrom, the former Yugoslavic Republic of Macedonia, that's what they're called, anyone who was wondering. They show like people are standing together and they're showing that they're not just a small country who has economic downfalls occasionally, because every country has an economic downfall. And that just happens in life. We're never going to be fully high. So it shows like people can come together and they're just so powerful. Like we are like you're working together to tell people that no, this is not. You can't just come in and take our name. You can't just come in and take us over. You have to fight us in order to win us. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they're not going to let that happen. So that's what I think I'm most proud of. It's just that us as a Greek community, like we stand together and we stand strong and we don't let anything get in our way.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So, what do you see as one of the biggest challenges facing Greece today?
Well, I guess what I was saying with the Macedonia, but I don't really know if that's a challenge. That's more of just a hurdle. I guess that is a challenge though, because there are so many people that are like that try to push us and try to shove us in different ways, because we are struggling economically now. We are a smaller country than most, but there's so like I just feel like like I was saying, like they just push so hard and they just like especially with the Macedonia thing, because I remember they were talking about it. It's still relevant now because I remember seeing a post yesterday. They're still trying to change it, and it makes absolutely no sense to me. And I think that that's really hard for people because especially people up in the north that call their home the Greek region of Macedonia. What people don't understand, like, is that if Macedonia, the country, calls themselves Macedonia, then Greece loses that part of the country, because then it's not like there's no Macedonia takes it, and Macedonia thinks that Macedonia is their name, and it's very hard for people to take in, especially like up north, because like they grew like it's the history that's taught. Like these people are trying to change or trying to alter history so they can win an advantage or they can win the name of their country, but they don't understand that it's like our history, our country. Their country it was just like us when the Ottoman Empire took over. It was just an Ottoman thing, and they say that Alexander the Great was theirs, but they think about it, it was the Greek Empire when Alexander the Great was there. So technically, it was the Greek territory. It wasn't his territory, and I just think that it's even a relevant conversation today is kind of crazy. But I just think that like that's a big challenge. Also challenges, Greece itself with refugees. I don't know if it's now, but in the past, like a few years ago, they had a lot of refugee issues because no other European country was taking in any refugees. And they were taking them all in, because why are you going to leave suffering people? Like Greeks have suffered before. They know what it's like to suffer. Why would you not let those people in? Especially bigger countries like Germany or England or France, who have more space, who have more options, like more money to help these people. Like it's just kind of hard. It's hard, especially as a community like in America, to see them struggling, and as people there to like be the ones that are trying to fight for these people and for their need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the next question is, what is your reaction towards the ongoing conflict with Turkey and Greece?
Well, I'm not 100% sure on what is going on with Turkey and Greece right in the moment. I know obviously hundreds of years of history between them. Obviously, starting with the Ottoman Empire, they had us enslaved for 400 years. They caused a lot of trouble. They actually caused the taking away of that. What is the England thing that they call it? The Elgin marbles. The only reason there's the Elgin marble debate is because Turkey let the British take the Elgin marbles. They've caused a lot of hardships and things for Greece as a whole country. And right now, obviously we joke as Greek Americans, we're like, oh, they're Turkish, get them away. We don't associate. But I don't know what it's like now, like how politics are working out now in the Middle East, because I know that Turkey is doing some things just with like those Middle Eastern countries that are fighting wars right now that is appalling, and I don't know what that is in relation to Greece or what they want to do with that. But I hope that someday like they can chill, and maybe Greece and Turkey maybe not be the best of friends, but at least have a mutual understanding of each other, and not like they also, the one thing that I don't like is that they Saint Sophia Cathedral in Constantinople or in Istanbul, and they made that into a mosque, or they're trying to make it into a mosque, and it's really saddening. But that was from so many years ago. But yeah, it's just I mean, like I said, I don't really know what's going on right now in the moment, but I hope that one day they can kind of come to an agreement where it's not them trying to push us or them trying to deface us, and maybe it's more of like the Muslim culture and the Orthodox culture can kind of coexist and not have to fight all the time and not have to be in constant argument. Because I don't see why that would even need to happen if they don't associate, like if we're not talking as much. And I don't see why we can't talk as much, but hopefully one day.
So my last question is, what else would you like to mention about your Greek American experience?
I mean, I really being a Greek American, I think it's a lot different than growing up in any type of lifestyle, and I think that's because other communities have youth organizations. I've seen it. Ukrainians have it. Roman Catholics have it. A lot of people have it, but I feel like, the Jewish culture has it. But I feel like growing up Greek American, growing up in Goya, which is Greek Orthodox Youth of America, it's so different because it's not just saying, oh, you're Greek, oh, come once a week to this meeting so we can talk about your religion and maybe go to a convention once in a while and maybe do a summer camp once in a while. It's about constantly reinstating your faith, your culture, your friendships, and you make it's so much interconnection, like networking. Like I did this one organization, a HEPA. I did a 1 week program with them, and it was the best program I've ever done. I learned so much about networking. I got to go to the embassies, and I feel like other religions and other cultures don't have those opportunities for their students. And I think it's great that the Greek community does that, and they have everything for every type of person. It's not just super religious people or super athletic people or super like artistic people. It's for everyone, and those people can come together and do different things. And I just think that's like the greatest thing that I've ever experienced, and I'm so happy that I was born into the Greek culture and I was able to experience this stuff, and I hope I can experience more as I get older and I finish college and I go through that. And I hope when I have children they can do the same thing, because I can't imagine what a life would be like without having all the friendships that I've made and all the people that I've known because of Goya and because of the church.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Bye.